Let's bring on board Deven Choksey as well. Deven, hi, good to have you on the show. Both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank sitting at record highs. Time to go cautious, or do you think the the move is pretty much under control and the rally still has more legs to go?
So good afternoon, Asha. Well, on one side, I think we are fully invested. Honestly, I think no additional money at this point of time to put into this market. And fortunately so, because I think the market is, getting the momentum and the traction on the higher side. If you have liquidity in your hand, you can easily make a mistake and I think put money into the market at this point of time. I'm not saying that the fundamentals or the directions of the market is weak. The fact remains that I think the market is scaling too quickly and too early. Maybe I think that's where one is not fully comfortable. So I think individual stock specific approach is one which we always believe is going to be more rewarding now onwards as well. So individual stocks, I think they remain relatively more comfortable to us vis-a-vis the overall market view that we carry at this point of time. Maybe some stocks in the area of automobile ancillary, but some companies I think which are in the engineering R&D space in IT. That's where probably I think we like to put some money into those stocks. If the market is giving correction, it is also a more happy situation to add new funds into those companies.
Right, okay. That's the view coming in on the market right now. But Deven, soon we'll have earnings as well, trickle in. Anywhere you see exuberance or anywhere you see that the earnings aren't quite going to match up with the expectations the street has?
So on one side, I think most of the expectations are down to the street. On the other side, I think there are certain possibilities that we are factoring in. Like, for example, the commodity play is going to probably show some relatively better amount of direction in the guidance in this particular quarter and hereafter. The metal commodity, the ferrous and non-ferrous, suggesting that their volume is now probably reaching to the peak level. And as a result of which, I think they are talking about debottlenecking the capacity with the brownfield expansion. At the same time, I think greenfield expansion being planned in subsequent years. So this particular space looks interesting. Fortunately, I think the cost of energy for them is coming down due to the mix of renewable along with, I think, the conventional energy that they are having in the balance sheet, which is probably giving them a margin comfort, if not anything else, at this point of time. So we remain to be more bullish on this prospect and possibility and would like to validate our understanding on the subject through the management commentary in the direction going forward once I think the result comes out. Similarly, is the situation we are factoring in the specialty chemical business. In specialty chemical business, I think whatever the pain points were there, so I think the inventory and the sales at a lower cost in last 3 quarters, most likely I think we are going to see the reversal in the 4th quarter with the jump in the higher amount of, I think, growth on one side, and at the same time, I think the lower input cost, which will give them the margin advantage. So this is one area where probably I think we are keenly watching the situation. Otherwise, there is nothing which is called exuberance or something which is not factored in. We believe that overall the markets are likely to remain healthy. Maybe I think in some pockets like IT, surprise by way of having slightly better than expected directions of guidance than the street is expecting.
Okay, taken just marking Piramal Pharma, that one is reacting to the news flow that the company has forayed into the men's grooming segment with the latest brand coming in. So that's one stock that you need to have on your radar. Data Patterns is up a solid 12%. HEG is the other one which is firing away. Reliance Infrastructure, of course, is down 20% on account of that arbitration. And Spark is the other one which is down about 5%. But a lot of other price volume buzzers, given the fact that the market is hitting fresh record highs and even the mid-cap and the small-cap index has been having a great run. In fact, if I have it right, Ansh, small-cap index has been closing in the green for the last 10 to 13 sessions, right? What are the other price volume buzzers you have for us?
Yes, this is actually 13 sessions and we are seeing Nifty small cap advancing on a continuous basis. First stock we have is Hindustan Petro. Actually, the stock has given a breakout from its reverse head and shoulder chart pattern, which was intact for over a month now. The stock has also surpassed about its 20 DMA with volume of over 80% as compared to its 10 session average volume. Also, from this we have Tanla platform also in focus. The stock has actually given a breakout from its cup and handle chart pattern, surpassing about 50 and 100 DMA. The stock has also registered volume of over 10 times its average trading volume of last 20 sessions, indicating very strong participation in today's breakout. Lastly, Natco Pharma will be in focus as the stock has actually given a breakdown from its 6-session consolidation pattern, slipping below its 20 DMA level, and it has also formed a bearish engulf candlestick pattern on weekly time frame, which usually indicates a potential reversal trend on downside. So keep an eye on the stocks.
Buzz stocks out there. There's of course Godavari Power, wherein their operations have resumed at the facility which had caught fire back in August last year. There's also Bharti, which is holding out very well. Antique has initiated a buy with a target price of 1505 on this one, saying that Africa has a big runway for growth. Tariff hike seems imminent, and Bharti is going to be the biggest beneficiary. Deven, since you do track the telecom story closely, just wanted to understand purely on the basis of the kind of tariff hike which seems like it's going to be coming soon, or at least our monthly bills are definitely spiking up. Wanted to understand what you make of the telecom sector, along with all the news flow that we're seeing around Vodafone Idea with the fundraise.
Yeah, frankly, the Vodafone would be, I think, an interesting one to watch out for. They are trying to put in their strategy for, I think, overcoming the kind of situation in which they are currently in. How soon, how fast, how much money they would require, etc., is always going to be, I think, a good challenge to get it right. Honestly speaking, I think even though we listen to the commentary of the management, still not fully clear about how exactly they are going to be playing out this game. On one side, the Bhartis and the Geos, both of them have already deployed significant amount of money in building the 5G infrastructure, and they are now probably creating the larger amount of base for themselves. Whether Vodafone Idea would be in a position to catch up on that front, bring back those customers to them, big challenge as I see it. At this point of time, it is only a duopoly as I see it between Bharti and Jio. And honestly speaking, whatever kind of a price increase action that takes, it will have its positive impact in the balance sheet. More favorable for Jio than for Bharti at this point of time in my opinion.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea. Need to keep an eye out on that fundraising that, of course, has been much talked about. But in terms of other buzzers, not many, to be honest. It's the same set of names which are holding up. So metals as a pack, real estate as a pack has been doing quite well. In fact, Kunal, I was just going through the real estate performance of the stocks for this year. Sobha up 60% already for the year, and even the entire sector has already managed to gain, what, 20-25%. This is coming on that 70% rally that we saw last year. Are you expecting a bit of a reversal anytime soon, that people should start booking profits here, or there's another leg up?
No, I think there's still a lot more room on the upside for many of the real estate names. So, we go back to 2003, 2008. That was a classical, 5-year period where many of the real estate stocks, they gave returns in terms of, percentage, but in terms of multiples, where at that time you had the likes of Unitech, etc., which had gone, into multiple kind of rallies. Now, what we've seen so far in the last 2 years specifically, is the real estate stocks coming on their own. ELF, Anantraj were the first ones to move up higher. This time around, the good change is that Godrej Properties, for example, Sobha, that's another real estate stocks which are now leading the this year's performance so far, which means that leaders are changing in yearly basis, and that I believe is a very good churn for the entire sector, and that also gives room for traders who missed out earlier on the stocks or are looking at trying to trade at the underperformers to try and play a catch up. So I think that's where the sector plays generally gets a lot more stronger. I would maintain that bullish stance on the estate pack and expecting many of these stocks to now come back into breakout mode, like we've seen for the likes of Godrej Properties, Sobha, etc.
Even I think that's the problem, right? Because each time that you think real estate stocks have moved up a lot, they move up even further, and the kind of bookings and the Q4 updates that we've seen, it seems like there's still more legs to go. Where within realty do you find comfort to add afresh?
Well, I think the larger players probably have the bigger handle at this point of time in form of number of square feet under construction and the number of square feet for selling. So obviously the ones with Godrej Property, or for that matter even other realty, who have got the larger amount of projects under execution, they give you more visibility. Some of the regional players also are offering better than before visibility as far as I think the amount of projects are concerned and the execution is concerned. Maybe the trigger point, if at all one wants to call it that way, would be the time when you see the RBI rate action start coming in and the rate reduction starts happening. Because every percentage rate reduction that one would see is directly, indirectly going to have very positive impact onto these companies, real estate companies who are into developments, along with some of the NBFC companies who are into the housing finance business. So we believe that the momentum is going to continue. We believe that I think the growth is likely to continue for them. Only challenge that I see in most of the counters, likewise in real estate counter as well, where I see the valuations are peaking out ahead of time. And some of the companies at this point of time are putting way into the 25-26 financial year already. So obviously, I think we are going a little ahead of time, but that is a character of the bull market. I think it might give correction also in between. One will have to watch out for that correction. If one gets, that would be, I think, a better time to buy into some of the realty companies.
Okay, so that's the take on the real estate bag. But what's the government's aspiration when it comes to gas trading? Because it looks like India wants to become a gas trading hub over the course of next few years. My colleague Prakash is joining us with the exclusive information on this. Prakash, tell us what you're picking up.
Yes, an interesting development coming in as the next government is likely to take bigger strides in order to make India an international gas trading hub. Sources are informing that the Oil Ministry has started working on this proposal to make India an international gas trading hub, especially for the Southeast Asian market. We are given to understand that a presentation has been made before the Cabinet Secretary, and as per the initial proposal, pipeline infrastructure, LNG terminals, regasification facilities, gas storage facilities, networks are making India a hotspot. The World Ministry has started working on this proposal, and strategies have been prepared to become international gas trading hub in next 5 years. In addition to that, gas storage facilities are going to be going to play a very vital role in this whole plan. And the government is planning to provide gas storage facilities to the global companies on a rental basis. Therefore, companies like ONGC, OIL, GAIL have already been informed by the government to come out with the feasibility report to set up gas storage facility across the country. And subsequently, these companies have already invited tender for the appointment of technical advisors. As per the initial proposal, 5 locations have been identified to set up a gas storage facility across the country. And after that, global bids would be invited by the next government. Back to you.
Okay, so that's the latest as far as the gas trading is concerned. Thanks so much for joining us today. Maybe, you know, the infrastructure providers, of course, the ports, as well as Aegis Logistics, etc., should be in focus on account of that, because they are the ones that, of course, deal in this as far as the import and export is concerned. And, of course, the entire ecosystem of the, gas pipeline, EPC, as well as the other infrastructure players will be benefited if this does go through. But in terms of the markets right now, the move continues to be quite buoyant. We are holding on comfortably to that 22,750 mark. So there's no big sell-off that is happening at the moment. The Bank Nifty up almost 200 points. Deven, within the banking index, wanted your understanding into where the preference lies, because the likes of HDFC Bank haven't moved much, ICICI Bank has moved, but nonetheless the quality of earnings have improved time and again. And then, of course, the big old SBI is there as well. What do you like within banking right now?
So clearly, I think the potential stays very high with Geofin within the banking NBFC space, along with Bajaj Finance. I believe that I think both these companies have relatively much bigger play to offer compared to their peers in private sector banks, largely because of the fact that one, their size of the book is also reasonably big, and B, the amount of margin that they are enjoying is definitely give them a protection against any kind of NIM squeeze. So to a greater extent, I believe, I think these two companies remain relatively more stronger proposition. Jio, of course, I think is yet to start the business, but as I understand, they are fully ready with the infrastructure for offloading the business or starting the business. In each of the 4 verticals, I think they're probably likely to see the start with a bang, and maybe I think in 2 years' time they would probably achieve some kind of ranks. That's what my understanding is on the subject. So yes, I think it's more of an accumulation based on those promises or the understanding that I have talked about in GM. But these two companies likely to give relatively better performance as far as investors' portfolio is concerned compared to others.
Coming in on the financials. In the meantime, still scaling up for UPL, which is now up a good 4% as we speak. Some of the oil sensitives are seeing a bit of a relief given that there has been a cool off in crude prices, which are now sub the $90 per barrel mark. Remember, just earlier this week, they had spiked up all the way to 91 plus odd levels. There's BPCL holding out, the entire OMC pack looking good. And I want to see what Interglobe Aviation as well is up to, although the news flow is not quite supportive in this one. But this is one stock which has been holding very smartly from the word go and continues to be the case with the 4.5% uptick is where that stock is. Let's get in our check going on Interglobe Aviation and if any of the OMCs that you like and think are trade-worthy.
Sure, Aisha. So on Interglobe Aviation, I think this is the stock of the month because I've heard a lot of experts speak about it on your channel, on your sister channel. My only concern now is that with the kind of up move that we've seen, including today, is the stock actually approaching the overheated territory. So there could be some profit booking that could come around. Any kind of dip towards the 3,700, 725 kind of level would be a good entry point. So for me, Interglobe Aviation does continue to remain bullish, but it's a buy on dips. As far as the oil marketing companies go, we have a buy on IOC. This stock is now, if you see on the weekly charts, showing a higher high kind of a formation. Even on daily setup, it's trading above its near-term averages. So I think IOC is a stock that you can have on your radar. 177, 181 are the targets that we're looking at. 170 is a good support zone, should act as a stop loss. So that's one stock from the OMC space that we have on our radar.
Stock some of the losers as well, and pharma clearly is not doing very well for itself today. So whether it's an Aurobindo Pharma, Divi's Lab, a Cipla, they're all in the red. Not by a whole lot, but nonetheless there's a bit of a pressure across the pharma pack. In Lupin, which had a good news of one of the drug approvals coming in, Dr. Reddy's and Pharma, they're all in the red right now. Deven, are you watching out for any of the pharma names to probably add it to your buy list?
Not immediately. I think we continue to like the underlying proposition in pharma, in Dr. Reddy's in particular, and believe that I think these two companies are offering, in Cipla, of course, they are offering, I think, a good amount of clarity from the point of view of complex generics and the continued growth therein, along with the market. So there we have larger clarity. But actually, I think all the companies have done well on the pricing, and the market price actually is reflecting adequate valuation. So unless we see the new trigger immediately emerge, I don't think that the stocks holds the re-rating proposition at this point of time. Maybe I think they've given steady rate of return also. And in fact, a handsome rate of return in the last few quarters. But overall, I believe that buying should be done when the market is opportunity at lower levels.
Right, let's get in some BTST trades as well going, given the trading off tomorrow. Kunal, what's on your list?
So two buy calls. The first one is buy on Linde India. That's a stock which is coming back into a buy on dips kind of a mode. So the stock had a fantastic uptrend of 10% plus, almost last week, and now it's come back again, corrected to 200-300 points from its previous swing highs. So the risk reward is attractive to go for a long at current levels. Targets of 7,250, stop loss at 6,750. And the second would be a buy on IDFC First Bank, a classic kind of a breakout about that 83.5, which is the previous resistance for the stock. So it's completing a rounding bottom kind of a formation on the daily time frame. So to buy 93 as a target, stop loss at 78.
Right. Kush, what about your stock strategies? Any BTST ideas?
IOC is one that we've already discussed. Targets, just to reiterate, 177 and 181. 170 is the stop loss. The second one is GMDC. Here too, we've seen a lot of traction today. The stocks actually come off the highs, but the kind of breakout and volume back to move that we've seen, I think further the stock further higher levels of 425 and 440 also. 399 is where I would place stop loss.
Okay, let's begin winding up for the day. Kush, great to have you on the show. Deven, Kunal, we'll let you go as well. Let me hand it over to Vinny.